Dr. Nupur Kohli, who is a young medical doctor from Netherlands, and she aspires to make medical care worldwide more efficient. She's a versatile and sought-after speaker who recently won TEDx Award 2012 in Delhi in Delft, the Netherlands, with the speech "Life Lessons from Our Children." And she's active in medical research on mental and physical health of people of Indian origin. And she's also a trainer on communication, intellectual differences in medical fields. So can I now call upon Dr. Nupur Kohli to present her views?
I like to speak standing here, so I will start. Dear all, two men looked out of prison bars. One saw mud, the other looked at the stars. A quote by Dale Carnegie. These two men in some way also represent our societies. One part sees the mud, the other sees the stars, and some are in between. To get more empowered is about taking the right steps in our lives. With individual change, we can create a change in our communities and in our society. The quote shows, even in a difficult situation, we should look at the stars. And that is what empowerment is for me. I will show you a different way of looking at empowerment. For that, we need to go back to the very beginning of our being on this planet, the moment we entered this earth. As a baby, we are pure, and I believe that when we closely watch children, we can learn a lot from them that can improve our lives and make us understand ourselves better and feel more empowered. When a child takes birth on this planet, they neither bring good or bad with them. They have no concept of good or bad. They only understand the simplistic form of action and consequence. Good or bad is something we pick up as we learn from the environment around us. Children start life with a sense of wonder, through their eyes seeing the magic in everything. Every object can become their play toy, and they are not afraid of a little dirt. Showing an imagination and creativity that leaves you in awe. Part of a business assignment I had with my team, as a practice, we got a paperclip. And in 10 minutes, we had to come up with 3 different ways we could use this paperclip as a new product. We had a lot of difficulty to come up with new product ideas. After a few minutes, we decided it could become a fancy keychain. And somehow we managed to have 3 ideas in the 10 minutes given. But we were having a very tough time. Our supervisor told us this is a much-used method to boost creativity in business students, and also a way to trigger finding solutions in a short time. Because of the simplicity of a paperclip, one has to use all their mental resources to come up with these solutions. And it is interesting to know that when asking young children to do the same assignment, they come up with 2 to 3 times more solutions within 10 minutes. This left me amazed at that time. Where did our creativity and ways to find solutions go? This also shows that children can be like a chameleon, adapting to every situation. There will be some heartfelt complaining at first, but sooner than us adults, they will make themselves fit. Part of this is that in general, children don't have a sense of shame like we have. If they look like a fool, then so be it. Also, children have not developed habits like we have. We have taught ourselves habits and stick to those habits, which are limiting us. When we change our habits, we can change our attitudes. Only then, coming closer to be like a chameleon, adapting to every situation. Why is this also important to us? Children ignite a certain happiness in us, and they can experience joy and totally, without any effort. I believe this is because children enjoy without any thoughts. We let our thoughts come in between. Don't think about the process of enjoyment, and don't think while enjoying. That is the key. When we look at children, they have an innocence we have let go ourselves long time ago. I need to emphasize that innocence does not mean being weak. You need to use innocence in your own strength and capacity. Gratitude also plays a big role in this. We teach our children to be thankful, to say thank you every time when they receive something from someone. We need to find that back in ourselves and be grateful for everything we receive. And every time when we receive in our minds, we will be saying, thank you. There are certain things children are not aware of and are not able to do. Children are being unable to make serious decisions. Also, they cannot control all of their emotions yet and have not developed patience yet. How do we learn from this and how to implement it in our lives? We need to observe their inability to make decisions, to become better at making decisions ourselves, and to develop patience. We need to observe impatience. The same with emotions. Not only observing children, in another phase also in ourselves. This will help us to find the right balance of our emotions, help us in our adult lives to make those serious decisions. Working on having patience, teaching children to become a listener, we can become a good listener. As the saying tells us, practice what you preach. Adapting more features of children will make it also easier to become a good mentor for younger pupils. Rewards for a mentor and a mentee come from the relationship these two share. The more they are emotionally and professionally synchronized, the better they will be able to empower each other and develop themselves. I quote Nelson Mandela, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, it goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, it goes to his heart." To get more empowered through what we can learn from children will only be effective if in return we will also empower these initiators. I will give you some short examples also because we're running out of time. There's a school in Bhubaneswar in India here where the child can only enter when the father doesn't drink or stops drinking for the child to be entered in the school. And the concept is very successful. Because of the father not drinking, children are more successful in their studies and there are less problems in the family. Personal hygiene is a part of self-empowerment one easily forgets. Neglect of personal hygiene can have a negative effect on physical and psychological health. Knowledge of the significance of personal hygiene is a must at any age. Another example. The simplest thing to do is create violence. To get to your goals with non-violence is a difficult task. I still believe that one of the most effective methods to build strength and endurance in children is to teach them to count to 10 every time they feel anger coming up. Self-control is very important in empowering oneself. Furthermore, empowerment of youth using soft power is also upcoming nowadays. Soft power is the ability to attract rather than using money to persuade. In the Netherlands, where I'm based, there's a group called Lucia, and they have ways to empower the younger generation. Lucia is simultaneously a worldwide collective of people who want to make the world a more positive, creative place, and also a name of the girl who started writing. The local Lucia group writes and spread posters signed by the girl Lucia, with texts about everything that happens in society. Lucia texts are mostly positive and funny, and at the same time, critical, wanting to stimulate the viewers to to see things from new perspectives and take action in their own lives. Blue chip texts are not trying to tell you what to think. Instead, they often invite to many different interpretations, and I think we need to go that way. Furthermore, social media yesterday was also mentioned. Facebook and other types of social media are ways to reach out to big young audiences. Inspirational quote groups and empowerment groups are formed on Facebook, and they have a lot of followers. Depending on how one does marketing of their page, a lot of people can be reached. And not to forget, a very old medium. Movies have always played a big role in empowering our younger generation, and they will continue to do so. I believe we don't need to grow up in some aspects. We need to learn how to act this all out in public. We should recapture how to be a child and implement that in your life. Does this mean we should all be acting like children? Is it finding the right balance? How is this empowerment? I believe knowledge isn't power until it is applied. And we have to apply it without losing sight of reality. I have shown you we should find ways to boost our creativity, that we must keep asking questions, to learn adapting to every situation by changing our habits, that we should not think about the process of enjoyment, to say thank you in our minds every time we receive, that to develop patience, we need to observe impatience, the importance of personal hygiene, and to get to our goals with non-violence. If we act this out in public, finding the right balance for ourselves, we will keep improving and uplifting our societies. The truth is, nobody will give someone power just like that. It is something we need to gain ourselves. I'm winding up. Those with the healthiest self-esteem are those whose esteem is based on their own accomplishments and internal feelings. The more self-esteem is based on external things, the more fragile it is. One needs to develop the courage to act. And that is what, in my opinion, the real purpose of empowerment is. Do not look at mud, look at the stars. Thank you.
Thank you very much.